So I think by now we've all seen the James Bond movie Casino Royale. One of the stars of the movie was the Aston Martin DBS. Today we have an Aston Martin DBS colour Casino Royale, the actual colour from the movie, and believe it or not, the same number plate. I think what we need now though is a James Bond to drive it. I don't really think that's going to work, Stu. Through the corner, the vision's great in this car.
If you want a car that sounds good, and that, my friends, is the sound of an Aston Martin 6-litre V12.
You know, I reckon that in a decade or so, there will be a whole generation of drivers who simply will have no appreciation or exposure to, or even the ability to drive, old-school manual gearbox cars like this. And that will truly be their loss, because this car is wonderful. Even though it's only 13 years old, this Aston is surprisingly old school. It's like a modern take on a relic from a different era. This is what happens when you plonk a big capacity V8 or V10 or V12 in this case in front of you and punch all that power through a manual gearbox into two fat Pirellis at the back with fairly basic traction control to keep things almost sensible. That's it basically. This car does not do the driving for you. You have to do it, and therein lies the reward. Okay, it's time to put Mark in the car. Let's go.
Stu, part of the excitement of owning and driving an Aston Martin DBS is starting it with the ECU.
The emotion control unit.
That's exactly right.
That's an incredibly naff term.
It is a bit, isn't it? But
what's it say up there? Did it say Power Beauty Soul?
Yep.
We don't need the marketing department to tell us how we should feel about the car.
Absolutely. You only have to listen to the way this car sounds when you start it. That's it.
All right, so that's our first criticism. We might see more James Bond cameos by Stu in this before the clip's out.
You're getting out of the swimming pool later with the trunks on, Stu?
I'm not doing that one.
We only got to 1,000 subscribers last week. I don't want to lose 1,000.
Back to 200 before you know it.
Going backwards. There is not much steel in this car. Aluminium extruded chassis.
Yep.
Carbon fibre bonnet, guards, boot lid. A lot of interior carbon fibre, aluminium roof, doors.
Leather, Alcantara.
Well, vegans look away, but it took 7 hides to make this car.
There's a little plaque somewhere that lists the name of all the cows.
Yeah.
How many Alcantaras did they have to kill?
It's a rare and endangered Alcantara. There's not many of them around.
But for all that effort to lighten the weight, they saved like
about 30 kilos.
Yeah, 30 kilos over the DB9, and it's still 1,695 kilos.
For me, I'm happy to trade off 100 kilos of weight to have a V12 sitting in the front of the car, because it's a superb engine. And as we said before, we drove the V12 Vantage a little while back. They don't make cars like this anymore. V12s will be a thing of the past. So it carries a bit of extra weight. I don't think it's a problem. The current Astons, the range that they have now, they sound like AMG Benzes.
Yep.
They don't have that sound.
Yeah, there's no auto blip in this. You have to do it all yourself.
Yep. So the new cars are faster, but they're just nowhere near as cool as these. A lot of people look at Astons and they compare them to Porsches and Ferraris, and of course we know those cars really are faster cars in many cases, but I'll tell you what, you put your foot down in this thing, it's got a sport cat on it. It sounds slightly different to the standard exhaust system, and it really does flow a lot more freely, and you can really feel that. Got a second there. I mean, that's straight up on the traction control kicking in there.
Back was walking there.
You can feel the car actually moving around. I don't know if you can see that, but it's actually moving around a little bit. And that's on about half throttle. I'm nowhere near full throttle there.
So the ride is very firm, Mark. for
Yeah, well,
Australian roads.
it's a bit of a bumpy road. That's in the softer mode as well.
Is it?
We stiffen the suspension up. It's a noticeable
Yeah.
change there. It's not great on these roads.
Old-fashioned analog instruments with the tacho that goes the wrong way. The instruments go like this. It's kind of cute.
But now we're in that softer mode on the suspension. I mean, this road's pretty bumpy, and it soaks it up really nicely. It's a pleasant ride. It's a sports car. It's a GT car. You expect it to be a little bit harsh.
Yeah.
Of the car are great. Seating position's fantastic. Relation to steering wheel. You're sitting a little further back than you are on the Vantage. Its A-pillar's a little further away from you, and it really opens up the vision. So vision around the car is good. I mean, the door sills are very high. If you're a little claustrophobic, you could feel a little bit claustrophobic in this car, but I like the feel of it. It feels like a race car cockpit to me. Nice little heel and toe down to third there. You can feel that compression there. Well balanced car.
Really does talk to you. There's a corner coming up, Mark.
And a second there.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's awesome. You can feel, 85% of the weight of the car is between the axles, so there's no overhang on the front motor.
Yeah, you can feel that, can't you? Just looking through the corner, a little bit of smooth throttle on there. The car's balanced so well. You just open the throttle up, puts the power down beautifully. It sits really flat in the corners for a big car, Stu. I've got that on the slightly stiffer suspension setting. You really can feel the difference. It just tightens the whole thing up.
There's a lot of insulation in this glass because
Yeah.
you open the window and you go, holy, I can hear it echoing off the mountain range on the other side. Okay, listen to this, everyone.
Get a wheel spin there. Feel that nose come up as you get on the throttle. It's got a really long travel on the throttle pin.
Carbon ceramic brakes are pretty good too.
Brakes are superb.
There you go, and didn't even exceed the speed limit.
No, we didn't.
Excellent. 6 litres of good old English-made V12, except the engine wasn't made in England, it was made in Germany at Cologne. But quintessentially English. Smell the leather?
Yeah. Cars don't get much more English than Aston Martin, do they? And,
Where's the timber? There's meant to be timber in here. It's not really, is it?
Bit of piano black, that's all.
Oh yeah. The DB7 was nice.
Yeah, you had the 9, the DBS, and the Vantages, the V8 and V12.
Yeah.
That period,
Beautiful.
that car, that's just a real sweet spot for Aston Martin, I believe. And the current cars, they just don't have the same cachet, in my opinion. Trying to pick small things with a car, the gear lever doesn't fall nicely to hand. Again, you've got that whole thing with the Aston. You've got to get your elbow up to shift gears a little bit, double jointed. A bit of a long throw on the gears, but the manual is probably the car to have. They're rarer than the paddle shift, and the manual is beautiful to have. It gives you that extra control over the car. DB9 was the base of the GT3 Aston Martin race car for many years.
Have
Very
you
successful.
raced them?
Not the DB9. I've raced the V8 Vantage a lot. Not the GT3 car, but the GT4.
Yeah.
But the GT3s are raced all over the world. Were very successful. Won a lot of races. So, and you can really feel the DNA of that race car in this road car.
Gee, it's very. Why is it so quiet? It's.
I'm doing 30 k's an
When
hour and I've got no throttle.
When you want it
Want me to fix that?
Oh.
It really gets really squirrely. I mean, that's where the traction control's still turned on. I mean, if you flip that off and really got into the gas pedal, this thing would be laying rubber like you wouldn't believe. The traction control and the stability control on these cars is fairly rudimentary. It's not doing a whole lot, as you can tell. These things, you can get in a little bit of trouble. These are a real driver's car.
It's
unadorned with a lot of aids, a lot of driving aids.
Yeah.
Just superb.
It almost feels like a mid-engine car.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? You got that weight distribution there, it's just perfect. 70 k's an hour up the hill there, the torque is just superb. Pulls so from down so low to up so high. Turn in is not quite as sharp as the Vantage, and I think that's the extra weight. It's a slightly longer wheelbase. The brake and the throttle are a little bit too far away, and it's just not quite as easy to heel and toe as you'd like, but you'd certainly get used to that.
First Aston to come out with carbon ceramic brakes as standard, 398mm 6-piston on the front and 4 pots on the back, monoblock, vented, drilled, the whole lot.
I think there was about 3,400 made worldwide, I believe.
Yes. And
So
one for sale on car sales in Australia.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
So
They're a rare car.
I must say, I like going slowly in this car as much as I like going fast.
It's just a nice car to cruise along in, isn't it? I mean, that's what this is all about.
And it's teasing you in the back. It looks like it's got seats, but they're not, because there's this hard ridge here. So they're actually just storage.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
when they made the rollover scene in Casino Royale, and they wanted to swerve and have the thing barrel roll, and the BMW rolled nicely. So then it came to actually test with the Aston Martin, and guess what? It did the jump, they swerved, the thing didn't roll. The centre of gravity was too low, it was too stable, and it just skidded off, and they couldn't get it to tip over.
Right.
So they said, okay, plan B. They put a big pneumatic ram behind the seats, which drove a big pile driver into the ground to try and pitch it over. And it worked way too well. They only hoped for 1 or 2 rollovers. They set a world record, they got 7. And they wrecked 3 Astons that day. They were actually DB9s, but made to look like DBSs. So there was £1 million right there in one day for one shot that lasts about 5 seconds. And do you remember around the time this car came out, Aston wanted to diversify. They wanted to make a car that was more affordable, get more brand awareness out there on the streets. So what have they come up with? The Aston Martin Signet. Have you ever seen that?
The Aston Martin
Signet, it's called, which is a baby swan.
Yeah, okay.
And it was a huge flop because it was a Toyota IQ. It's basically a 1.3 litre VVT baby car, 0 to 100 k's an hour, 11.5 seconds.
Yeah.
96 horsepower. So it looked like you took one of these, squashed it, turned it into a bar of soap. But the bad news, it cost about as much as a Range Rover Evoque. So it was a total flop. All you do is undermining your own brand.
Well, Aston Martin is fraught with bad decisions throughout its whole history.
Yeah.
As beautiful as the cars are, the heritage that they have, they've been broke so many times. I think they're in fairly good hands now.
They have been going since 1913.
That's an old company. It's one of the oldest companies out there, but they've come back every time. The brand is so strong, so much heritage, so much racing heritage. Lawrence Stroll these days owning a large chunk of the company. I think you'll do a pretty good job with it. What a lovely afternoon.
So the rains have gone. Apologies that it's been 4 weeks since we last did a car review. Weather, commitments, other things just hasn't been possible. Don't you think that is just the most svelte, elegant, suave, politely understated, iron fist in a velvet glove car you've ever seen?
And it's an impressive car. It's a fast car as well. But it handles well too. It's not just a great looking car, it really does handle well. It sits flat in the corner, puts the power down really well. It's a fast car. A lot of people sort of write them off as being a bit of just a cruising car, but if you really want to push on seriously in one of these, you can have a lot of fun. It's a really quick car. Not a lot of settings, not a lot of gizmos. You can stiffen the suspension up a bit.
It goes from very firm to very, very, very firm.
Yeah.
That's only 3,000 RPM.
Yeah. And I'm using 25% throttle there, and you can feel how it picks up. But if we turn that traction control and stability control off, it goes into track mode, DSC track mode, and you just know this is just going to smoke the rear tyres up. A lot of cars that are out there now are just so over the top. This is understated, just style, class.
Beautiful lines. It makes modern cars look so artificial.
Yeah, it does. You look at the design of a lot of modern cars. There's just not much design going on, is there? They're just transport.
And the ones that aren't transport are so contrived. Like the M3, I just can't get over the face of that thing. I saw one catching me the other day. I like a return to bright colours, but it's just so ugly. And with all this piano black, you need one of these.
You
Just
need
so
your
you can...
microfiber with you all the time?
Yeah.
Thanks, Stu.
You're welcome. Just don't touch this gear thing.
All right, I'll try not to.
Okay. Performance, yes. Presentation, amazing. Personality, amazing. Price, great investment, but expensive. And practicality, not so much.
Yeah, not so good.
So there we are, an amazingly good score for such a car.
Good score.
Much grippier, more race car-like in performance than I expected.
Than you thought, yeah. That's something worth mentioning, isn't it? I mean, it's just, this car is better than you think it's going to be on the road.
Yeah.
You know it's going to be quick on the track, and you sort of, but it just behaves better than I thought it would have. And actually, it would be really challenging to drive quickly. The driver has to do a lot of work in this car. Just overall, I mean, I just think there's one of the world's best cars, and fun to drive.
Oh, thanks.
So I really have to say thanks to Peter for letting us use his amazing Aston Martin DBS today. Peter, thank you very much for trusting us with the car. It's a privilege.
You've got some good friends.
We've got some really good friends. I've known Peter a long time. He's a great racer, great driver, loves his cars, has built up a wonderful collection. And again, thank you for trusting us, Peter. Really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
It's remarkable how quickly the world is changing. We live in the era of the small capacity turbocharged hatchback with some kind of automatic transmission. Don't get me wrong, I'm really excited by modern cars that do all the work for you. But I hope there will always be a place for cars like this. This Aston Martin has something that is often missing. Soul.
What do you call that?
The emotional control unit. Yeah. Piece of jewellery.
Oh hey, you made it right through to the end of the video. Congratulations. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, please share it with your motoring friends. And above all, click the little subscribe thing down here so you can see the latest videos when we bring them out, hopefully each week. I look forward to seeing you soon.